Yo guys, what's up? How's it hanging, homies? Uh, Welcome, BFA. I'm unmuted. I'm here. I'm awake. It's Tuesday. It's time for some mat runs, and I am wasting no time because I want 2 runs today, and I don't want to run half an hour late. We'll see. We're off to the races. Got some game shout. I'm pretty sure I don't have anything in my teeth because I checked, but I don't believe myself. I don't believe my own eyes. I just, slammed a serving of oats to which I had added... Hang on, I'm not going to clear trash. I don't need to. I'm just going. We're going. To these oats, I had added chia seeds, blueberries, milk, and I had a little bit of brown sugar, and they were delightful. It was so good. And while I was eating them, I decided to research, what's up with chia seeds? What are they? Where do they come from? Why do I eat them? What inspired me to dump this seed-like product into my oatmeal and have it be stuck in my teeth? Is this going to give me any measurable benefits, or do I just want to be that girl that's eating chia seeds? Fun fact, they are in fact, and maybe everybody knew this, the same seeds used to grow chia pets. You know, same stuff. I bet you could plant it. And now I'm tempted to. And I don't need to be planting any more stuff. So how are you guys doing? I was sitting here slamming my chia seeds, watching chat before we got started. And I just wanted to say that you guys are just so darn cute with your cute names and your adorable emotes, and you're just being here and friendly, and you're just all so darn cute. I can't even. Blazeria, you gotta, oh, no, sorry. Yeah, no, it was you. You gotta rub a little bit of that invincible luck on me. Just, come sneeze on my keyboard. Well, no, not quite, but you know. Share a little bit of that luck. Red Bedhead, thank you very much for the 3 months. Deeply appreciated. Grats on your blue butterfly. Buongiorno. I was farming for Rogue Fangs of Legendary. Soloed on a 25-man heroic with boosted 110 gear. There you go. Watch your Hazel Septogs. Send Tuesday Mount Luck. Happy I was finally able to catch a stream. Welcome. Shout out to all of my Tuesday folks. And, Wednesday, Thursday, folks, if you're catching it late, we love VoD watchers, we love lurkers, we love chatters, we love the Mad Hatter. I don't know why I'm rhyming today, but I'm kind of feeling it. I just dispersed because I figured maybe that button would heal the light blue bubble, because I would like to heal some of them, and it didn't help. I have been playing Classic for too long, I have forgotten how BFA works, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, we're gonna AoE down these ones, and that one. This button, there's my Shadow Med, so 1 per should do it. So I should be able to nab 3. I'd like to do this in fewer phases than normal, so that I can move on with my life. If we're ever gonna get Siege down to a nice, easy 2-run a stream, which is still really slow, I'm gonna need to do that. Speaking as a Scotsman, can I just say that all those seeds and fruits are unnecessary in porridge? I'm sure they are. They're tasty, though. It's the one setup in which I really appreciate blueberries. I don't hate blueberries. I'm down for a blueberry. But, in the grand scheme of fruit, it can be somewhat sour. It can be somewhat acidic, perhaps. And I'm more about, the strawberry life, the raspberry life, even the blackberry life, even though those can be kind of sour, too. And then, people like to throw blueberries in pancakes and muffins, and those are all fine, but there's usually another iteration of that breakfast product that I would prefer without the blueberries. So it's not like we're fighting, but we've never really been best buds until I started adding frozen blueberries to my oats. And that's, I think, really my favorite location for them, because they stay whole, they haven't like blueberries do when you bake them in a muffin or whatever. They've maintained their shape. They've maintained their tension so that you actually have the experience of biting into the blueberry and bursting it. And it's just lovely. I feel like their flavor really matches. Did you go live early? Yeah, maybe 30 seconds. Nothing crazy. Spent the day hanging curtains with a cold going on. Oh dear. How are you with curtain hanging? Is that like an exciting activity for you because then you get to see the curtains up and you're like, wow, I made progress? Or is it one of those things where you just wish anybody else would do it? Because I've always been very stressed out when hanging curtains. I'm getting a little better at it. I'm like 3 or 4 curtains into my curtain hanging career, and I'm still making like fundamental mistakes, but at least they're up. A car accident that just happened. Oh dear. I hope everybody's all right. Leveling a priest in classic, but I just don't feel myself until I unlock shadow form. Shadow form is life. At what point, you might know this, I don't. This isn't a quiz, this is a genuine question. At what point in classic do you unlock shadow form? What level do you have to be as a priest to get that rolling? Not saying I don't really care. I'm not thinking about making a priest. I already have warlock and a hunter, and I already can't decide between the two of them. So, oh no. I think I've ruined things. Well, I'm off to a start anyways. At least I've remembered the fundamentals of how this fight works, so at least if I ruin it, I know why. In the past, I would run this fight and I would just have no understanding of what on earth I did wrong. So she healed a little bit. It's just about killing them at the same time, but I kept being really confused. I was like, well, there's only 2 of them now. Where'd one go? Oh, I understand. Okay. There it is. I'm gonna ride my hoppy frog. Is it Harvest Festival now? Yes, quite. Indeed. Huh. Actually, yeah. As of the beginning of the stream, 10 a.m. Pacific time, server time. The only time in my brain. Yeah, it is Harvest Festival. I feel, I should have known. This is the sort of thing I should be prepared for. I should look up a few more upcoming holidays and add them to my calendar. I don't know why I'm speaking like this today, but it's quite fun, so no, I shouldn't. Yeah, I'm the one that's supposed to know if there's anything new and put together a video. I guess I know there's a Hearthstone, right? Maybe it's not this one. There's a Hearthstone coming up soon. Hearthstone. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so there's a Brewfest one, and then there's a Junkyard Tinkering one. Huh, I didn't even know about that. Okay, so I know there's one for Brewfest. It does not appear that there's one for Harvest Festival. Harvest is usually pretty chill, right? That one might not need a video. I am the house curtain hanger. I don't like installing poles. Hello, Hazel and Chat. What's up, Mooney? It's not exciting. A stack of curtain rods in the corner of my living room. Waffles over pancakes? Absolutely, 100% of the time. I prefer my fruit to be on top of the waffle and or pancake too, rather than baked into it. I prefer to keep those food forms separate. Be quite good in smoothies? That's true. That's true. I always put them in smoothies and then I would get the blueberry skin in my teeth. Today I hate humans. At work, on the streets, in the tram, at home. Can this madness stop? I mean, if you have a room where you can have no other people in it, then you can at least pause the madness for a little bit. Can't wait for my level 40 Felsteed. 40. Oh boy, yeah. 40 is kind of my unofficial goal for any classic character. I'm not saying I'm going to give up and quit after that. In fact, I feel the early tendrils of a burgeoning addiction. But that's like a good goalpost. Like, I would love to get to 40 and buy a mount, which would mean doing it on my hunter. I suppose I could get to level 40 of my warlock, and instead of training the mount, I could buy one. That is an option. They don't prevent you from buying a regular one. I could just get a mechanist rider. I tried to get my husband to do it, but he keeps coming home late. Oh, dear. Anything new for Harvest Fest? No idea. I betcha Wowhead has a guide, though. They tend to. Get your little Burning Man toy out. Is that from Harvest Festival? I guess it must be. Sometimes I thought that was Midsummer. Let me look. Let's browse and see what the good folks of Wowhead guide writing have for Harvest Festival. Unless they pulled on me and didn't have anything ready yet. They always have something ready. They're the responsible ones. Well, it's certainly not in the front. Oh, there we go. No, classic WoW Harvest Festival. That's not what I'm looking for. Well, maybe a little later this morning. Today's accent brought you in. Did I just spit a cheese seed in my microphone? My apologies. That's gross. I found one. Okay, I didn't make it onto the microphone. The microphone's fine. Also, it's covered in like 5 layers of pop protection, which still don't actually completely prevent plosives if I'm speaking at the wrong angle. The audio on my classic gold guide I'm not happy with it. I recorded it and then it had too many plosives because my mic angle was just too direct. So then I moved the mic and re-recorded the whole thing, but then I was too far. But I really didn't have time to do it a third time. So I just rolled with the second one because it was fine. It was listenable. It wasn't like ear grating or anything, but it was definitely not the audio quality that I want, at least out of this microphone. Frogman's cool, but the running animation low-key makes me dizzy. Hi, Hazel. How are you today? How cute. Sup, cute. I am pretty good so far. I'm feeling a good energy. I didn't have it before I sat down. Sometimes you sit down and you don't know who you're going to be or how are you going to be like. And it just happens. And that's okay. I was somebody different on my walk this morning than I am now. And that's perfectly fine. On my walk this morning, I betrayed a cat. Is that the right word? I'm not sure what verb I'm looking for. I spoiled a cat's hunt. There was a cat on the path, and it was very clearly stalking some birds that were a few steps up on the path. And I should add, these birds, very dumb. This cat was a white cat. It was bright white, and it didn't blend in at all. It was the most visible cat that I have ever seen in my life. But, you know, it was stalking them, so it wasn't moving. And I'm assuming that birds mostly see via movement, or they mostly register movement and not so much colors, because that's how I sneak up on the hummingbirds at my feet, or at least that's how I avoid spooking them. It doesn't matter how close I am to them, as long as they don't see me move, they're not mad. So, but it was like it was all happening right in the path, and I didn't really want to like stop and wait, because that could have been hours. And also, you know, I wasn't exactly picking team cat or team birds. This appeared to be a house cat. I'm sure it wasn't about to go hungry if it didn't manage to get the birds. So I just I tried to warn the cat because it looked very focused and I didn't want to like spook it by being right up behind it with a dog. So I was like trying to talk to it while I was approaching this cat and trying to just make noises to alert it to my presence. And it wasn't having any of it. It did not notice until I was like right behind it, and then it ran. And the birds flew like half a foot. They're probably doomed. I don't think that they've learned the survival skills necessary to avoid that cat. It's coming back for them. But I saved them that time anyways. How big is the delay between you playing and the diffusion of the stream? On average, about 8 seconds. However, important to note, the delay between between chat happening and me actually catching up in chat to read it varies from 30 seconds to 30 minutes. I can get very behind in chat sometimes, and I can get very stubborn about wanting to read most of it. So it's not necessarily a stream delay. Usually it's a me delay. I never enabled the music. There it is. I've been listening to it. Hazel, have you watched any more of The Dark Crystal? Yes. I couldn't tell you the number of the episode we watched last night, but we did watch an episode last night. I am riveted. I did not expect to be this into the story. When I first started watching it, I was mostly expecting to enjoy it for the art form of it and how pretty it is, but I am into the story now. I have no idea what's going to happen. I am fascinated to find out, and I'm just in love with that show. Leveling 2 characters in Classic at once, I would die. Yeah, my inner alcoholic is really jumping out. I am just incapable of making concrete decisions. I missed one. I always do. I think I always do. I feel like a sim today. Fair. I've somehow become the rich one in my Classic guild, manage a friend's auction and finance for a 30% cut. Ah, yes. Ah, yes, the investment banker friend. Not every guild has one, but I know that many guilds have a few people that, like, are too lazy to auction their own things. So they'll pass them off to somebody else that they know does it in exchange for a cut. And I've never been that friend because I refuse to take on other people's work. But I've definitely seen it happen. Also, it's not saying that this is a bad thing to take on other people's work. They do pay you for it. It is very much worthwhile for your time. I in my heart of hearts, I just want them to discover the joy of selling their things for themselves. White cat may have been deaf, potentially. That might have been it. I may have been trying to talk to a deaf cat. I like cats but poor birdies. Ah, yes. Well, you know, the cycle of life can be cruel, as they say. Still not started watching Woo Assassins? Streamer not playing Classic? On Tuesdays, anyways. Have you been watching Kian and JC's YouTube Reality House? I have never heard of those people. Are they cool? Is their house fascinating? Do they have plants? Frost oil sells for a good chunk of change. Can't pin the recipe from a vendor though. I was off to a good start in terms of selling things, like mailing things to my bank alt to sell them, but I've gotten really lazy because by the time that the thing actually makes it through the mail to my bank alt, I've lost interest and would rather just vendor it. I saw a recipe on a vendor. It was an enchanting recipe, and the vendor price was 22 silver, and the listed price, because TSM scans will show me those at least, I could have made like a 20 or 30 silver profit off of it. And for me, at least in Classic, that's a pretty big percentage. That's a big deal for me. But I didn't do it because I felt very lazy. And what if I can't get that much for it? I've just wasted my time and my 22 silver. New Bake Off episode tonight? Oh, yeah. My husband is so excited for that. It's like his favorite Netflix show. It's gonna be pretty good. There's too many things going on. There's a new season of The Good Place, too, that I really want to see. I love that one. Here on live, I've been running around with my green wing macaw just because I really, I mean, I love it because it was my first pet back in the day, but also now that I'm playing Classic, I don't have one yet. I'm considering just spam running dead mines to try to get one to drop. I think it would be more effective for me to focus my efforts on leveling and then do what I did the first time, come back at level 40 to 50 or so, and farm it myself for the pet. That's what I will probably do. I'm just very jealous. I see them out every now and then. I see people with them, and I get very jealous. I will have one. I will have one again one day, which is silly because I already had it. The story already happened. I have it. It's right here. It's the same one. I haven't like switched it or anything. It's the same one that I got all those years ago. It's just now I want to do it again. I got my hunter to 22 last night, equipped a new bow that's like a big DPS upgrade, and now I want to pug myself into a Dead Mines run just because I want to experience what it's like to run Dead Mines on Classic when I'm not under-leveled for it and face aggroing everything. Also, I want to be like somewhat useful in the group. With this new bow, I feel like I'm going to be doing substantial DPS, so I just want to do a run where I'm like helping, you know? And maybe there's gear that I can get. It's quite possible. But for the most part, I just want, like, the experience of being useful to some strangers. And then going, yes. Success. UK, so we get to watch it first. There's a notice on Netflix about new episodes coming soon. I don't remember when it said. We might get them now. Made a bunch of my gold from selling silk and mage weave from farming Scarlet Monastery in Zul'Farrak. Sorry for taking so long playing WoW Classic. Understandable. Understandable. I did a bunch of that myself this weekend. I need to set myself some hours where I can be playing recreationally and make sure that I am only playing during those hours, because it's very tempting to just rearrange my priorities to play extra WoW Classic, but that's not what I'm here to do necessarily. Also, we gotta get some siege mount runs in. Gotta stay tied to my live account. I actually did I get them all? I did. Okay. I did a key this week. I got through, I want to say like a 12. I did a Waycrest 12. So there's going to be a 440 piece of loot in the chest. So I'm counting on you guys. I'm going to need help. When I get to the end of this run, or like when I'm about to get to the end of this, remind me to open my chest before I log on to the next character. Jane, are you coming? I've done all right, the boat's showing up. It's getting there. There we go. I need to open the chest. I need to remember to. I didn't get a PvP chest this week. I never finished my cap. I got halfway through it. I pugged myself halfway through my arena cap, and then Classic was just less stressful. So I spent more time doing that. Is there any good transmog from Siege of Orgrimmar? There is so much good transmog. I love most of the sets from this raid. The priest one is the Eternian Glory set. So with like the feather, let's see, appearances, sets, Eternian, I want to say it's like a bird word, because it turns a bird. I don't know. But it's this set. But most classes have really nice sets from Siege. So it's a nice consolation because it's a very long mount run. The mount drop rate is not really any better than any other one, and you can really realistically fit far fewer runs into any given week unless you just spend all week doing this. But at least you're getting a couple thousand gold per run just in gear that you can vendor. And you're also getting Transmog. So that's nice. There's some nice weapon appearances. There's some nice smog. It's fine. It's all good. I am not going to let my gnome buddies die. I will not let my gnome buddies die. They are under my protection. Gonna need on everything. I didn't want to be that hunter, or sorry, no, I was my warlock, but I didn't want to be that person that was needing on everything, but I went into yesterday's Dead Mines with such trash gear that I really did need everything. It's okay, I won that, sure. I need to oh man, I want to play my hunter, but I also want to play my warlock because I need to get another level so I can wear that hideous top. It's got such good stats. It's like the best piece of gear that I've ever gotten on that character. And I'm gonna look so bad and do such damage. And also, I'm almost level 20. We're 18 and a bunch, so we just need to get to 19 worth of shirt, get to 20, and then I can do another class quest. I can get my succubus. We can find out what her name is going to be. We can get my soul back. It's going to be so much fun. You know one thing, though, that I have noticed I don't have yet? When did interrupts start happening? There must be interrupts in Classic, right? Right? Because I see mobs casting things, but I don't see a cast bar for them. And maybe that's just on my UI. Maybe I need to enable target cast bars somewhere. But I definitely don't see cast bars. I just see mobs casting things and then they happen. And on my hunter, I definitely don't have an interrupt yet. I want to say they didn't add it until later, but there must be some classes that can interrupt things, aside from just, like, stunning a mob. I know I can earn a stun later. Am I confused? I mean, I am, guaranteed, but how confused am I, and in what way specifically? Okay, we're gonna take down these bad boys, and look for... There he is. Oh, direct hit. So good at this game. Go. Tips on how to get into some Mythic Plus. I mean, I'm not I don't have a lot of experience because I'm blessed with a guild that just adopts me into runs and lets me do my best. Not everybody has that luxury. If you're trying to get into, like, the scene and you don't have a starting point, I would pug your way into low keys. And try to sort of, like, do them evenly. So try to do, like, a low key. This is what I would do. It may be the wrong idea. I have no idea. But if I was doing it, I would try to pug low keys of each run. Both to familiarize yourself with the layouts and the routes that people like to take. But also to build out your Raider IO score. And then you can sort of progress up a few levels. You can probably skip a bunch of them. I don't really know. But I would make sure that if you do get into a good group, offer them your battle tag so that you can hopefully get into that group again, especially if it's like a guild run that was pugging somebody. If they did that once, they may need to do that in the future, and you want to be that person that's on their go-to call list. Back in Wrath, I queued a random dungeon as a healer, didn't understand how the system worked and needed on everything. Yeah, it happens. I was in Loch Medan, and I was doing the Ol Sooty quest. Ol Sooty is a level 20 elite bear, and he's required for a quest line from Farstarter Lodge. And I was not in a group, and I get up there, and there's a warrior or something. Somebody's fighting it already, and it's tagged. And they're dying. They're getting wrecked. So I invite them to a group so I can help, and they accept that, and we're both in a group now. And, the warrior continues to die and then dies. And I kite this thing around for a while because it's very tough and I almost die. My pet dies, I almost die, but I just barely make it at the end. So I loot Ol Sooty's head, and I know the warrior can also loot his head. So, and I didn't know if he'd still be able to if I left the group. I wasn't 100% sure. So I was waiting for him to run back. But then a moss agate dropped, which is a gem. And, you know, there's no jewel crafting. Nobody actually, like, needs them for anything that's, like, important. It's a trade good, you know. You're not wearing it as gear. Maybe you need it to craft. But for the most part, it's a thing that vendors for 4 silver. And we're pretty low level, so that's a big deal. And the warrior immediately needs on it, on this moss agate. And then I cared a little bit less about waiting for him to run back. So then I just left, and he whispered me to thank me. So he must have gotten his head. I don't think I actually ruined his day. I wasn't sure whether or not it would. But, I mean, if you're just gonna need on, you don't need that. I don't know. Maybe that was spiteful of me. No cast bars. Interrupts are stuns for a long time. No cast bars? Oh. All right, I wasn't sure if my UI was broken, but good to know. So that's all I can do is I can just stun something, or get a cast bar via an add-on. I gotcha. Defies, thugs, and stockades interrupt you. Rogues have kick. Shamans can interrupt also. Okay. It's mage you can use counterspell. Warriors get pummel. Okay, so everybody has interrupts but me then. I would assume that a fell hunter, because I know I get my fell hunter at level 30 as my warlock. I would assume that they're going to gain some kind of an interrupt, maybe. It's hard to find a guild or community nowadays. Pug keys are the worst thing. Start your own group, list it clearly as a learning run, all about expectations. That's a good idea. You need it for engineering? Yeah, but, like, you don't need it to, like... I feel like profession needs... I don't know. I don't know about all that. Like, if I'm a tailor, I don't think that gives me the right to need any cloth. Not that I could, because it wouldn't distribute like that. I don't know. Spell lock? Yeah. Is that Siege of Orgrimmar you're running? Sure is. I am here looking for the Corcoran Juggernaut. I'm doing Mythic Siege... And I'm about to head underground, so I need to remember to empty my inventory before we get there. Spell lock? Yes. Okay, so which classes don't get a kick then? Because you guys just said there's no interrupts, and then you listed 17 of them. And you're just... I guess you're just supposed to... Assuming that you don't get a cast bar add-on, you're just supposed to use your interrupt when you see the cast, like, animation on their model. I would imagine. But maybe they just expect you to have an add-on. Do you need any transmogs from Siege? I don't think so. I don't have those plate shoulders everybody talks about, but I don't really play plate, so they're not important to me. I have the set all done. I need transmog actually from lesser versions of Siege, but I have to do it on Mythic because that's the only difficulty that can drop this mount. So I think I have most things. There might be like a piece or two. I can check actually after I vendor all of this stuff, or at least most of it. Add that thingy to my junk list. Okay. Yeah, so if I go Minara's Wardrobe Helper, refresh. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I have everything. Which makes sense. I've done this a fair few times. A horde alt today? No. I'm on my no. I hope you got many flight points. The ability looks like a brain. Okay. Resto Druids don't have an interrupt, but they have a knockback. You should get a cast bar add-on. It isn't the vanilla experience, but it's so needed. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it might be nice. I don't think I'm going to worry about it until I get something I can do about it. Currently on my Hunter, at least. I don't get Intimidate until quite a ways further down the Beast Mastery tree. So even if something is casting Insta-Death Bolt on me, I can't do anything about it. I don't have any way to CC a mob or stop it. Even a trap, like even a freezing trap or whatnot, I would have had to lay before combat, so that's not going to help me much. Are you rocking Weak Aura 2 for lock, or what do you use for your UI? I don't have any Weak Aura set up. I'm using mostly default UI. I was going to grab my Shattered Unit Frames back. On Classic, I was doing Shattered Unit Frames, I was doing Bartender, mostly just a stripped down version of what I normally do here. I thought I enabled KUI nameplates, but I can't remember now. Necrosis has a cast bar tracker? Ah. I discovered that Wardrobe Helper through your videos, and it has seriously fueled my transmog addiction. Does that. It definitely does that. It makes it feel so satisfying to just farm instances over and over and over again, because you just want that last piece. It doesn't matter that it's bracers that you will never see in your life, or that it's like cloth pants, or something else that you're really not going to use. You want all of it. You want that 100%. You want that completion. You want it checked off your list. If I was as good at checking off my time management lists and my project planning lists as I was at checking off transmog lists, I would be so successful. Okay. Hey, I got a transmog. Maybe some of them aren't showing up in that one thing, because I definitely got a cloak appearance. To be fair though, I never transmog cloaks. I'm not really much of a cloak wearer. I would if they would wrap around my shoulders, but in their current iteration, they're really just capes. Is there a Zeppelin in Elwyn Forest? I see lots of night elves in the human starting area. No, they've actually got quite the trek to get there. They just like leveling there. There must be reasons. I don't know them. It's too crowded. But for a night elf to get to Elwyn, you need to run yourself to Aberdeen, take a boat to Menethil, and run yourself all the way through the wetlands and all the way through Loch Medan, go to Ironforge, take a tram, and that'll take you to Stormwind. And people do that. Lots and lots of people do that. You can run that route and see little tiny baby naked night elves running the trek. Which I don't really get because, I mean, sure, it puts you closer to dead mines. There must be a reason that I don't understand. Otherwise, people wouldn't be doing it. But it does put you closer to dead mines. But, like, Darkshore is a wonderful place to level. It has many quests. It's a little long. But it has many quests, and it's not so crowded and competitive like Westfall is. I had a very difficult time trying to get anything done in Westfall because there was too much competition for mobs. At least the gold is not too bad. That is true. That is absolutely true. I feel like next gold-wise for me is going to be the Rustbolt Resistor. The Exalted Rustbolt mount is about 420k after the Exalted discount. But I'm not actively farming for it. I can't do that many things at once. I have a lot of things on the go, and I need to kind of like temporarily shelve a few of them if I'm ever going to focus on any of them. So I am not actively leveling my Mistweaver right now. I'm not really actively farming gold. I'm not really actively working on Mechagon or National meta achievements. I'm mostly just trying to keep up with streams, make some videos would be great, and play Classic. And get some upgrades set up. I got my new lens last night, actually. It wasn't supposed to be until today, but it arrived last night. I did not know that I was buying it from a camera shop. I thought I was just buying it from Amazon itself, but apparently it was a vendor via Amazon, which seems fine because it does look to be a genuine lens. And set that up, and I think it's going to work. The field of view, the framing of the vlog, the Friday videos, is going to be a little different with it, but I don't think I want to go any wider. I think this is as wide as I want to go. It's a 35mm lens, and I feel like that's the compromise. I really liked the 50, but it was just not going to work in this space. I'm starting to realize that YouTubers that I like, that have really gorgeous cameras and film talking head footage of themselves, super sharp with like the really nicely blurred backgrounds, and I feel like they have bigger spaces than I do. I feel like their cameras are further away from them and they are further away from their background, assuming that they want it to be blurred. And that I need to accept the limitations of not being in a studio and the fact that I am in a room and not an especially big room at that. But it's okay. I don't need the background to be super blurred. I've got like cute stuff back there. You still want to be able to see it. I just need it to not be so sharp that it's distracting. And this way. No capes. What's wrong with capes? I just don't feel them for myself. I think they work great in many people's looks. I just don't like them for me. Because Elwyn is love. Eastern Kingdoms is more XP per time. Is it when it's this crowded, though? I swear I was moving faster in Darkshore just because I wasn't fighting people for spawns so much. I imagine that if you have equal zone populations, then sure. But that's not the way it's been in practice for me. Used to do that on my RP server to play with friends. The add-on for hunting Transmog is Minar's Wardrobe Helper, spelled just like this, and gives you these lovely little percentage complete. So I can see that if I wanted to go back and run Moradon, I am 9 of 12 appearances, and that is considering my armor type. It's not counting plate or mail or anything like that. 9 of 12 appearances. There's 3 that I don't have. It'll show me which bosses they come from. And you can get a little mini list that is like this little checklist and have that on your screen. It's wonderful. This is my very much preferred method to track Transmog that I don't have yet. Elwyn is efficient for leveling? The Wetlands run isn't so bad if, well, it wasn't so bad for me. Maybe I shouldn't judge other people for wanting to avoid it. Maybe I got lucky. But I managed to do it without any deaths. I suppose when you're level 1, you're probably going to have a much wider aggro radius. Do the weekly lab in Najadar to work towards the meta? That's a good point, yeah. I was about, where am I at on that? Periodic destruction. I need 4 more. So you're right, I do need to do it this week. I may have forgotten last week. I may have skipped a week, but I only need 4 more. So I should at least make sure to make progress on that. I feel like that is not going to be my bottleneck for the meta achievement. I know it's technically the bottleneck. It's the only part that's time gated that severely. But like, The thought you said they'd be rare, the every rare Nagitar. Eeh. I am missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12. I'm missing a solid dozen rares out in Nagitar. I think what I would need to do is I would just need to look up their spawn requirements, because some of these, I'm sure, there's something specific you need to do that I just haven't been doing. I know what it is for Gacula. I need to do that for the pet, but yeah. And, you know, I'm not... I haven't finished leveling my dudes yet either. I should probably just go hit up, like, the dailies every day, but I don't know. That's okay. You have chat channels on? Absolutely not, no. I get into them on Classic anyways if I'm trying to get into, or at least I got into them when I was trying to get into that Dead Minds group. So I figure if I'm going to try and pug a dungeon, I'll get into chat for that, but I don't want to just have it passively on. It's too much data noise. It's too distracting, and I'm too likely to see something that's just vaguely irritating that I wish I could unsee, and I can't. It doesn't add anything to my personal experience. Static Goblin? No! This is a gnome. There she is. She's Alliance. She's wearing a Horde appearance. Like, the helmet is definitely like a Horde silhouette, so maybe that's where it's coming from. I feel like if I did the Wetlands run, I would accidentally aggro every mob I walk by, get one-shot by them. So, what people are saying is true. There is a way to kind of go die either in the ocean or in the mountains. I haven't done it specifically, but there's a specific place you can go die that will res you in the zone that you need to go. Or at least take you to spirit healers where you can res, I would assume. So you can skip it that way. If you want to do it the traditional way, you can just take off all of your gear so that if you do die, you're not going to be incurring any repair fees, and all you have to do is run back and then just, like, give yourself some time. You can death run your way over there. It's not a big deal. I don't think that Menar's has a world drop list. Darkshore quest scale wonkier are very spread. Elwyn flows better. Westfall, though. Westfall, though. Darkshore does scale a little bit weirdly. You do get kind of like a bunch of early quests and a bunch of late quests. I'm finding the same thing with Ashenvale, actually. I did a bunch of early Ashenvale quests, and now everything's kind of red. So I decided on my hunter I would take a break from Ashenvale questing until I sort of level into those quests. And go do Dead Mines, maybe. Go mess in the around the wetlands, maybe. I don't really mind moving around a bit. After I discovered that the highest discount you can get, the highest reputation discount in Classic, is actually just at Honored. You get 10% off at Honored, and that's the best discount you're going to get. They did not add higher discounts for Exalted until much later. So... now that I'm Exalted with Darnassus, I feel like I don't have to focus all of my questing in that area. I can kind of move around if I want. And I want to do some of the wetlands, because there's a quest in the wetlands for a Raptor's End bow. And it's a very good bow. It's a few DPS above the one I'm using currently, but it should... I want it anyways, so I need to make sure I do those quests. Or find those quests. There may be prerequisites. Okay, and flippy side. Nope. I don't know. To my knowledge, I'm not doing anything differently when I successfully complete that versus when I die. I clear one side, and then I go to hop over to the other side, because the gate didn't open. Unless the gate did open. I don't think it does, though. I need to actually take the time to review my VoD and maybe look up some info in the fight, because there must be something I'm doing wrong, otherwise I wouldn't be dying. I just have not identified what it is. People converge in Elwyn to quest in groups. Group questing sucks, though. Group questing certifiably sucks. There are very few quests in which you are faster for being in a group, because some things share credit. Kill quests, sure. But anything where you are collecting items, which is many quests, you have to wait for there to be enough to spawn for everybody, and the experience penalty for being in a group is heavy. And especially, like, if you have a finely tuned group of highly experienced people, you might be able to break, like, 10% above even. But if you have even one anchor in your group that isn't doing optimal damage, or, like, can't find an item or something, you're taking massively longer. I don't believe it's faster at all. I think a lot of people are operating on knowledge from back in Classic when things, even if they're the same, have turned to be a little different this time. I finally got the Aqua Team achievement last night. Congrats. Must feel good. I imagine it feels good to be done. That's one of those ones where I betcha by the time you get your Aqua Team Murder Force, you are probably about ready to be done with Nashatar dailies. Okay. So. And I know it's not from killing all the mobs remaining, because I've done that before and still had it happen. I've, like, killed every spark that was left and every crate that I'd opened. Alright, so the handle's ready now. So we press the handle. The other one also needs to happen. So I hop up, which is what I did last time. And go do the other side. I didn't run out of time. I just don't understand. I'm gonna figure it out one day, and I'm gonna feel very dumb. It's gotta be something really obvious. It always is. Fun in pairs of 2 or maybe 3. Maybe I just hate people. Maybe I'm just innately antisocial, and I just don't like people. That doesn't sound true, but it also doesn't sound false. Stuck on toy collecting. I'm done with Pandaria, most of Warlords. Still need 46 to get the lumber extractor. Yeah, that is a tough grind. That is a tough grind. You done with Mop and Warlords. Yeah. Legion. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of Legion toys, but there's a bunch of Legion toys both lootable, and then they added a ton of them to the Withered Army training, actually. Better off grinding solo rather than a group. Yeah, I really like just grinding, too. I don't really mind when I run out of quests in a zone, or when I hit an experience gap where I just need a few more levels before I can move on to the next quests. Because I am super down to just pick a spot with some relevant leveled mobs and grind them for an hour and see what they drop. Especially if I can skin them. If they're beasts, I can skin them, and if they're like humanoids or elementals or something, they might drop me mushrooms, they might drop me cheese, they might drop me fruit, and I need fungus, cheese, and fruit to feed my bright blue boy. I have a Tall Strider pet, and it's the pickiest eater alive, and I love it to bits, so I need to feed it. Tried WoW. Couldn't find for sure an answer. If I have the reputation requirements for the Nightborn on my Alliance main, do I have to redo it with a Horde tune as well? Is this related to trying to make a Nightborn? You are able to create a Nightborn once you have done the required achievements, no matter what faction it was on. So, if you have done the Nightborn rep on your Alliance character, and you've also done the questing achievement that's required, you can make a Nightborn. I definitely did not do it on Horde. What you do need to do is do the Allied Race Unlock quest line. So you will need a Horde character that's at a high level just for the sake of going to the embassy and doing the short quest line. It happens like in Sunwell, I want to say, to unlock, not Sunwell, Magister's Terrace? Magister's Keep? I don't know. Something elfy. They do something elfy. I did it. I don't remember much about it. That one with the dude that I used to bug out all the time. Well. But yeah, you're fine doing it on an Alliance character. You just need at least one Horde character. They don't need to have done the rep. You need one Horde character to do that little unlock quest line. You don't pull the lever until both sides are done. But I just did, though, and it didn't kill me this time. I always do it like that. Don't I? Because I never jump over to clear the other side and then pull the lever and then jump back and pull the lever. That's never it. And whenever I do die, it's like right when I hop up to the other side. Nashadar Paragon mount's going to be a pain to get. Anecdotally, the drop rate's not too bad. Either that or I'm just stinking lucky, because I got it on my second cache. I may be just stinking lucky. That may be just some good old-fashioned streamer luck kicking in, but I finished that one well before I finished everything else. Warlock or Hunter for Classic Hazel? Both. Unless you're asking for you. If somebody's asking for a recommendation, I like Hunter, but I can't let my Warlock go, so I'm doing both. It's going to be very nice when I don't have to do this anymore. I actually would prefer to farm... I would prefer farming Deathwing. I would prefer doing Spine of Deathwing over doing Spoils. I know that fight, and that fight doesn't randomly kill me in a way that I don't understand, at least. When I randomly die in that fight, I know what I did. I know I messed up. When can you start taming hunter pets in Classic? Level 10. You get a little class quest at level 10. It will teach you how to tame pets. It will also, there's a second follow-up portion that's very quick, but it will teach you how to feed them. And I recommend doing those both before you go and tame a pet, because you want to learn how to feed it so that you don't go tame a pet and it's going to be mad at you. And then if you don't know how to feed it yet, it may run away before you can learn how to feed it and then feed it. And you don't want that. You're supposed to clear all the mobs, including Sparks. I've definitely done that, though, and still died. Don't touch the defense bubble in the cache? Nah, maybe. I mean, I'm sure that could also do it. These just don't sound like the right criteria. I need to review my VoD. There's a bug? Had it happen from time to time? Maybe. Maybe that's it. I should read up some guides. Shame there's no gnome hunters in Classic. It's bizarre to me how few classes can be hunters, at least on Alliance. You're a dwarf or you're a night elf. You're not a human hunter. You're not a gnome hunter. I feel like on live, at least, hunters are like, you know, hunters and warriors, but they're that ubiquitous class that almost everything can be. And it was much more exclusive back on Classic. People say the rust feather mount drop rate 1 in 20,000. Is that what Rarity says? 1 in 20,000? I mean, I don't have any concrete data to fight that with, but that doesn't seem right. I know too many people with it for a 1 in 20,000 drop rate. If you like them equally, you'll save room with Lock over Hunter. No ammo needed, no pet food needed. I love them both, but them's the facts. Yes, but you need to carry soul shards. So, like, the thing is, your soul bag and your ammo bag, essentially the same thing. It's essentially just one less bag slot, no matter whether you're a Lock or a Hunter. I suppose you could skip the soul bag and only ever carry around 3 soul shards. But soul shards do tend to clog up bag space, and they do so dynamically. At least with the Hunter ammo, you have one bag. You stuff it with ammo, and you don't worry about it until you have to stuff it with ammo again. And then, sure, you have to carry around pet food, but that's like 1 stack of food, and especially if your pet eats the same thing that you do, you can just cook a bunch of food for you, and then you and your pet can share meals, and that's both, like, handy and adorable. You're snacking on the same thing. So it's a little... Locks do have a little bit more space, but I always found my bags ended up super full of my Warlock because I was drain lifing, or drain souling, rather, for the mana regen buff, and I would just generate soul shard after soul shard after soul shard, and at this point in my lock life, I don't rotationally use them. I use soul shards to generate health stones once a day, and I use them to summon my Void Walker, again, roughly once or twice a day. I don't really go through nearly as many of them as I generate, so I have to be constantly deleting them. That's bananas. Don't think so. Had it drop twice. No signs in the harvester mount, though. Yeah, no, soul shards do not stack. They are one per slot. Keep 3 or 4 on me. Never use a soul bag. Never had an issue. Hazel, I just did a little research for you from others. It's a bug that generally happens when you go up too fast. Wait 10 to 15 seconds. Going up too quickly will cause the cache to one-shot you. Okay. That actually does line up with what I understand, because in the past I had a rule where I would wait for the red animation coming from the lever to finish before I moved on. So maybe I'll just use that as a barometer. Although I feel like I did kind of wait, but I could probably stand to wait a little bit longer. Because it does happen every now and then. That's frustrating that it's not super predictable. Clear enough to fill the bar in your UI. Pull the chain, do the same on the other side. Target larger boxes. You know, I do that though. That's a thing that I do. And it works 7 times out of 10, and 3 times out of 10 I randomly die. You are right. You are correct. It is true. Necrosis has an auto-delete feature for soul shards. I should probably get it. I don't know why I'm feeling resistant to it. I should probably get it. I do need to set up for my hunter because I want to use special unit frames for my hunter. But Shattered Unit Frames definitely, at least as far as I could see, does not have a pet happiness tracking feature, and I need to track pet happiness. So maybe I get a separate weak ore for that, and then I just use shattered unit frames. But I guess that actually makes sense. That sounds like the solution. And then I can have it be bigger. I just want to know if my pet's sad so that I know when I need to feed it. You know, chuck it a watermelon. I bought those. I bought the watermelons, and I also bought bananas. And then I tested them to see how much happiness they would give, and the watermelons were giving 35 happiness a tick, and the bananas were giving 34.5 happiness a tick, and the bananas are half the price, and I should have just been feeding the thing bananas. I wanted to farm mushrooms for it. I thought it would be fun to, like, take it farming, to farm up some, like, cheese and fungus for it. But the drop rate of cheese and fungus apparently sucks. It's not very good. Yo! Used to watch your YouTube videos for Legion content. Had no idea you streamed? Yeah, I do. I spent a long time streaming on YouTube, which is a great way to stream when you don't want anybody to know that you stream. It was kind of a nice little bubble where I could hide, but also stream. And I've braved out into the big bad Twitch world, which turned out to be exactly the same thing. Pet happiness weaker. I just fed mine often. Major chalk pet. I was doing that when I had a cat because I would just end up with all this extra, like, random bits of meat in my bags. And, you know, like a fish here and there and a meat here and there, and I would cook it and I would just have a lot of it. So I would feed my pet as a way of cleaning my bag. So my cat was, like, happy. My cat was full. But the tall strider, its food is expensive and tough to farm. So I want to make sure I'm not using any more of it than I need to. His loyalty's leveled up a little bit now. I got him the other night, and I've played with him enough that he's loyalty 4 now. Maybe even 5. 4 or 5. But he's not getting hungry too often. My tattoo is a tree. I've got a tree on my right arm. I used to love having to feed my hunter pet. Felt much more like we bonded. Right? I adore it. It's giving me so much satisfaction. The commitment to my pet, like I felt a lot of pressure on my decision to find my pet and to pick one and to tame it. Like, go find it and tame it. And then I had to level up its loyalty and find out the skills. Like, I've done so much work to try to build up my pet to be the companion that I want that I feel much more attached to it. I feel like so much is given to you for free with live hunters that pets are very interchangeable, and you find people just collecting hundreds of them, just like there's a new skin, like people collect mounts or pets. And when you can have like 200 different versions in 17 different colors, it's cool, and that's also fun and exciting, and they're all very pretty, but you don't have the mental capacity, you don't have the emotional capacity to get attached to each and every one of them. So they all tend to feel a little bit less special. I feel that way a little bit about my battle pet collection. I was much more attached to individual battle pets when I worked really hard to get them, and that can still be true. There's still many pets, Fellclaw, Marsul, anybody, that took a significant amount of effort, but just the sheer amount of pets that we're able to have now, they seem to go lean in on quantity without thinking about what the drawbacks of such quantities of pets would be. And as a result, I feel like I'm less bonded to my pets. Even if I put in the work to get them, I just have so many now that I can't realistically love them all. I do really much appreciate having them be account-wide. I do appreciate having them not be in my bags. But having it be in my bags made me really consider, do I really want to have this pet out? It's going to take a bag slot. I need to actually want it. I can't just pick it up on a whim. Happened to find you live. Awesome. Welcome, Zombie Nugget 8. Same true for mini pets? Exactly, yeah. And I don't know if I feel that way about mounts. Maybe? You know, I guess I don't have a mount yet in Classic, so I don't have a reference point to compare the live experience to. Because currently, I really like collecting mounts. I'm down for mount runs. I love the process of it. I love the meta achievements. I just love the options. I love being able to pick out one for every character that matches them. And it's exciting when new mounts come out. I'm down for that. But I do have so many that I can't realistically love all of them. And maybe in Classic, especially once I've saved up all the gold for one, maybe I will feel much more attached to like my basic old Nightsaber than I would to all the different versions that I have. Speaking of pets, cannot wait for the purple butterfly in 825. I know the model you're talking of. They have some of those models in now. They're just not purple, right? I still use the same hunter. Oh no, I'm not paying attention. I mess this up. I should be paying attention. I know better. I know better than to. Okay, hang on. It might not be too late. I mean, it might be too late. I know better than to space off during Paragons. How do I get out of this thing? Oh, well, that's how. My bad. My bad. This is why we're never going to get the half-hour rundown. Absolutely never. Too many now. Can't get attached to all the roaches. Not like my original whelpling. And I do find that the original ones that I did farm back then are still somewhat special. Like, I've got my Crimson Whelpling. And I do know in my heart of hearts, that's the same Crimson Whelpling that I farmed out in the wetlands. I guess I don't know which iteration of it was, because I did have multiples. I probably sold off a few, because I did farm that a few different times. You know, it still does mean something. But it's not quite the same experience. Hazel and the Prairie Chicken Pet in Westfall, an iconic duo. Won't use anything but my turtle. If you switch to the other side, there are mobs alive the side you came from. This sparks. Okay. You want your one mount that you love in your bag? Yeah. I was actually, it was a question that I had, because I don't have any mounts yet in Classic, and I won't for a long time. I was assuming that they were going to function much like pets do, where it's an item in your bags and you use it to summon it. I hadn't confirmed that yet, but that does make sense that it's going to be an item. You can have boxes unopened. Yeah, I'm not worried about having boxes unopened. Because you go for the larger ones first. It's just the thing that kills me. Mobs alive in the side you came from. I hope this helps you out. Thank you. Westfall Chicken, all you need. I have the Westfall Chicken on my Warlock. I have the Hawk Owl on my Hunter. But no matter who gets the Green Wing Macaw, that's the one. I love that thing. Maybe for the next run? Do you think they will ever add store mounts for Classic? No, they're not that dumb. They are not that dumb. They're not that dumb. That would be the dumbest thing they could possibly do. That's like how to enrage your community for no good reason 101. There is no good reason for them to, because the Classic audience isn't looking for store mounts, and they have an audience in the live audience that is both already set up for store mounts, accepting the store mounts, wouldn't cause massive controversy. There's no reason at all. It's not even set up for it. It's the parasites that were getting me killed, right? Because one of them would get to me, and it would turn me into the bug. And there's a thing that you have to, oh no, you have to eat the parasites? Oh, I don't know. I gotta remember. It's fine. Watch out for that bad boy. Okay, there we go. You know, it's cool. Wouldn't be fun without a good failure state. Mount Pocket was Kata. Yep. Stays in your bag. Night Elf mounts are the best. I'm trying to decide in advance for my Hunter which one I want, because historically I was always a black Nightsaber person. You know, the black one with the stripes. But this time around, I'm considering going Spotted Frost Saber, like the Snow Leopardy one. Just in memoriam of the poor snow leopard that was my faithful companion for like a good 20 levels. until I ditched it for a turquoise meme bird. So I'm thinking about it. Last bacon stream online yet? I'm going to put that out this morning. I'm going to put that out today. Probably right after the stream. I have it cut. I just need to grab a thumbnail for it. It'll be on YouTube. I don't think the live audience likes star mounts either. There are people that do like star mounts and that would like to pay for them. And I don't think it's a problem for it to be available. It's not. It would be better if they were all available and obtainable in game, but I think that ship sailed. So, as long as they're contained alive, it's fine. Finally got ball. Got the warg pup back in the days. I always had it running around with me as Ghost Wolf was cool. If the Greenwing Macaw drops in Dead Mines, does everyone in the group have to roll for it? I don't know. I don't know. I would like to know, because if I'm going to farm it at level in a group, I want to know if I'm rolling for it or if I just have to get lucky enough for it to drop for me. What keeps wiping you? On Paragons, there's two things that could wipe you. There's the Manipulator, and then there's the thing that turns you into a Scorpid. And I don't really understand how the first one works, which is why it keeps getting me. But as long as I'm paying attention and I'm killing them one at a time and not just tanking them forever, it's usually fine. I don't mind the star mounts as long as there continues to be new earnable mounts in the game. Yeah, I'm fairly neutral about it because, like you said, they do continue to add many mounts to the game, and many of them are very cool. It's not like the only cool mounts are shot mounts. It's true that shot mounts do kind of have a special shine to them that you only really find in shot mounts, but there's plenty of stuff that's in the game that's just as nice looking, I think. Plus, I get a lot of shot mounts. I have a good amount of them. Some of them were gifts, some of them I just bought. I'm not too ashamed of that, but I don't really like them as much as my other mounts because I didn't really put the effort in for them. But if, especially if it was like a gift, like if somebody that likes you a lot knew you liked like foxes, for example, if you're somebody that's got a big thing for foxes and somebody gets you that for your birthday present, that's adorable. That mount has sentimental value, and I don't think anybody should judge you for having gotten a gift. Is the mechanical chicken pet available in Classic? I think so, but I'm not 100%. Ghost Saber's pretty cool. Yeah, I got that back in the day, and I was up in the ruins of Mathostra just questing. And I was clicking the cat figurines because I was the right level to tame them. I was clicking the cat figurines like, well, if one spawns, then it's destiny. But I knew at that point that I wanted to get the turquoise bird. So I didn't stick around in Camp 4, but as long as I was already up there looking for relics, I figured maybe I'll try. But it didn't spawn. I want to try and forge a new path this time. I don't want to completely recreate experience for experience my original WoW experience. I want to try and do some things a little differently and make a new story. So I didn't want to do the cat again. I also considered doing a hyena because there was a version of me that had a hyena pet for a long time, and I kind of wanted to do that again, but then I wanted, again, to do a new story. So that's how I got my fungus-only bird. I never feel cool riding shot mounts, feel kind of ashamed. I used to feel like that. I have a very specific memory of the Celestial Steed first coming out, the very first shot mount, and somebody was checking their mail on it in Dalaran. I think it was Wrath when that thing came out. And I remember people just spitting on them excessively. And that made me not want a shot mount for a very long time because it was just very much not cool to do. And that stigma sort of eventually wore off over time. But I don't really feel that weird on them. I don't go out of my way to ride them though. Usually what'll happen is they'll come up in my random favorite mount rotation. Because I have them favorited along with every other mount that's even slightly unique that I own. And then I'll ride it for a little bit when it comes up like that. Only buy store mounts when they go on sale. I do really like collector's edition mounts though. And those are a very similar thing. It's something that you paid for. But maybe because it's an older school version of paying for collectibles, people are less mad about them. But I love collector's edition mounts. I have the, I have most of them from Kata, because that was when I started playing, or started buying expansions anyways. I really like the BFA horse. The Alliance BFA horse is the Seabraid Stallion. Is that it? Love that thing. Seabraid. Yeah. That horse. With the lantern. Gorgeous. So pretty. Yes, don't forget your cash. Good call. Good call. I'm gonna loot this. I'm gonna get my mount. Ready for it? Drum roll. Darn. Sometimes the drum roll works. It was a really half effort drum roll, so perhaps not. Let's get out of here and try open the cache and then get on the next one. Wish Stormhouse didn't count for the achievements. That would be fair. Don't forget to open the chest. I will open my chest. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Otherwise, I absolutely would have forgotten. I'm not a good rememberer. I feel like I should get some of this stuff out of my bags just so that I don't accidentally vendor whatever I pull out of the cache along with the rest of it. I don't know if I need anything. I'm kind of just like chilling on live a little bit until 825 gets a little closer. I need a new PTR build to come out to hopefully spawn more of the jellies because I can't find any of them for my video. Yeah, it's close enough. Hopefully one day realm transfers will be free. Got my warrior on the wrong one. Oh dear. I mean, over the past weekend, I don't know if they're still open. They had realm transfers from specific realms to specific realms on Classic. For Live WoW, though, those are always just a paid thing. I don't think they're ever going to just be like, here, free forever, because that lends itself to abuse. One of the reasons for paying for... I mean, there's a few reasons why they have a price on realm transfers. One of them is just money. It's just an easy way for them to make money. It doesn't really cost them anything, or it costs them very little to do a realm transfer. So it's easy money, but it's also, you want to have something to make it less convenient to realm transfer. The other thing that you can do is put a big cooldown on it. Otherwise, people can very much abuse transferring around to different realms to manipulate economies and like get mats from servers where they're cheaper, that kind of thing. I got a wand, a 440. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, I have a 440 crit haste wand. Damn, that's a hot wand. I don't have an offhand, do I? Do I have an offhand? I might have stashed one in my bank. I don't know. I'm gonna need to run some sims. Ooh, the haste crit though. Those are my best stats. Those are my best stats. Also, it like super matches my Mog. So that's a sign. That wand, right? Oh, God, I wish I miss wanding now. I actually really like having an auto attack in Classic. Oh, do I have, oh, I just jumped in the sea. I just hopped on my frog and jumped in the sea. Oh yeah, I can water walk. That's right. I think we just will fall in love. It's a nice one. I'm gonna need an offhand though. The add-on, there's a few add-ons that will automatically sell grays. I use Auto Vendor. And I also use it to automatically sell soulbound gear below a set item level, and that's what lets me clear my bags after like a mount run. Okay, time for another one. Let's do the druid. We love a hot wand. I suppose I did say that, didn't I? I wanded in Queen's Court. Can I auto attack with a wand? I guess I haven't tried it. What if, hang on. I guess I haven't tried. Let me put it on. Not that one, this one. I just always assumed it was gone. I mean, I'm sure it's not competitive, but I just always assumed it was gone. I don't remember where the target dummies are, but that's okay. I can sit down my own. Toy box. Love. Fool. Wow! You can wand in live. I had no idea. I won't, but because, you know, they added filler spells. They changed how combat flows, but like, for some reason, I just thought you couldn't anymore. Dang. Nice mount, why thank you. Auto Vendor keeps selling my fishing pole. You should be able to take it off the junk list. You should be able to manually remove it from the junk list. Latrix is good if you want a bunch of configurable stuff. Yeah, I like Latrix. I use it for, I specifically really like speeding up. Oh no, hang on. I can fix that. I need to move it. I wonder if I just can't use, well, no, I should be able to. I'm using a different cam link adapter because reasons. And I wonder if it's using more bandwidth. Pascal, thank you very much for the 2 months. How dare you not laugh at my in-game joke? Oh, did you make a joke? Hang on. No. I missed it. I missed it. Careful pulling stuff when targeting pre-pull. Zycy 2007, thank you for the sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. Appreciate that. Hazel's breaking the meta, wanding in live WoW. There's a skill. Shoot. Following around in Borealis, typing /silly. Oh! I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna grab my druid. Gosh, I am 10 minutes late. I'm gonna use all of the advice I got when we get to spoils. I'm gonna use every bit of advice I got. I'm going to kill every mob, including Sparks, before I go over, and that should also take some extra time. Assuming I do both of those things, I shouldn't wipe, theoretically. Whew, a little warm. Okay. I was on a really great streak of doing my dailies every day in this character, but I really fell off the wagon. Didn't work out too much. I am feeling very bitten by the photography bug because I just got my new camera and I've just finally got a lens for it that's going to work for the video stuff. So I want to get it set up for videos. I want to figure out a setup where I can use it to take photos for Instagram or whatever. But then I also just want to take pictures because it's just so beautiful. It just takes such nice pictures. I don't have to do anything. I don't need to know anything about composition. You just point it, and then, like, the autofocus is so good on it because I don't trust my own eyeballs to manually focus things effectively. Like, I can manually focus to the best of my ability, and I take the picture, and I look at it later, I'm like, wow, that's kind of fuzzy. Like, I'm just no good at it. And the autofocus on this thing is so beautiful and so fast and so fluid that it's just like, it's just, I just want to take pictures. Stalker alert goes off. Oh, you know what the other thing I was going to do today? Well, not was going to, am going to, 100% confirmed going to. It's a special day for my husband, and something that he wants is Japanese pancakes. You know the like Japanese souffle pancakes? You seen those online? I've never had any and I've never made any, and it might be a disaster, but he saw them online at some point and decided that he like wanted to try them. So to help celebrate his special day, I want to make some for him. So I bought the molds because there's some kind of a mold that you use because it's very tall to help flip it. I'm still not convinced I have every piece that I need, but I have enough to at least give it a good old whirl, you know, a good college try. So after the stream, that's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to do the pancakes. I have blueberries, so I can make like a blueberry sauce to go with them. I have cream, so I can do whipped cream. I think that's going to be it. No, this upcoming Saturday vlog, I'm going to try and do it with the new camera. The one that came out last Friday was on this camera. This is a Sony RX100. It's great. Awesome camera. I just want to go 4K. And this one can record 4K, but in very short stretches, and it cannot output 4K over its HDMI port. They're so fluffy. Yeah, I just want to try. I just want to know. I'm not really a pancake person. I've always much preferred waffles. But I've also never tried Japanese pancakes. Maybe these are the pancakes of my dreams. Although I think that might be unfortunate if they turn out to be my new favorite thing. Because as I understand it, they're annoying to make. I feel like it's going to take a while. Space Bouillabaisse, thank you very much for the sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. What fish you got? Let's take a look. That there, little yellow boy, that is a sunset honey gourami. His name is Kronos. Darting around the back, you can see some silver fish with red tails. Those are white cloud mountain minnows. Gracing the bottom, I don't see them right now, but they may swim by at some point. This is not the entire tank. This is a short subsection of the tank, so fish will swim in and out of view. It's a 20-gallon long. There are also panda corridoras, and there is a single Bolivian ram. He's very handsome, and if we are lucky, he shall grace us with his presence at some point. They just had their tank cleaned yesterday, And I feel like I finally got the algae mostly under control in that tank. There's a little tiny bit of black beard algae, actually, that's been going on. But I find as long as I just, like, pluck off the spawn nodes of it, essentially, just, like, the little spots where it starts to grow, it doesn't really spread much. So it seems contained to the spots where it is. And it mostly likes, maybe it's not blackbeard algae, because it mostly likes, there's spots on that middle wood, the spider wood, the tall one, where the bark kind of comes off and it like grows algae on a specific spot, which is probably taking nutrients from the wood as it like slowly rots out. But anyways, I'm happy with the state of that tank. It seems very stable, and it took a long time to get it stable. So everybody seems good. I've been having fish nightmares again, though. These are just like kind of a fixture of my life ever since I got an aquarium. They usually involve some scenario where either somebody else has put fish into my tank, or my fish have given birth in my tank, or somehow fish have gotten into my tank that don't belong there. And there's either too many of them, or they're too big, or they're predatory towards each other. The nightmares always focus on there just being the wrong fish in my tank, and I just can't get them all in their correct tanks. I don't have enough tanks. I don't have enough space. They're eating each other. They're biting me. There's just like, it's just like tank anxiety of them not all having the correct home. Although I don't think it means anything super serious, because I also, to this day, I had one last night, have recurring nightmares about not being able to figure out how to finish school. Because when I was graduating high school, I had a little bit of a last minute scramble to figure out which credits I was going to require and what I was going to receive credit for, and whether or not I was going to need another course, and whether or not there was going to be time. It was a little unclear to me. And because it was the end of the semester, it was difficult to get in to see your guidance counselor, who was going to help you like detangle what I did and did not need to study. And I had a lot of stress about not being able to graduate on time. I did end up being able to graduate on time. I graduated on time. I got credit for an extracurricular project that I had done, and the credits added up and I was fine. But to this day, and I graduated 9 years ago. I am a 2010 grad, so it's been a while. And I still have nightmares about either not being finished my English course, because that was something when I was in university, I got really behind in English. And I also, for some reason, was behind in English in high school, even though it was like my best course, but I was just behind. And I still have school nightmares. Lots of them. So I don't think it's necessarily meaning that I'm like a bad fish mom or anything. I think it's just like one of those things that keeps you up at night. I wonder if I put down like a mushroom zone, if I can just like AoE heal a bunch of the globs as they like roll through. That might be kind of nice. Although I'm not a resto spec right now, so I guess I don't have the mushroom. My filters came today. Can't wait for the rest. Very nice. Excited for my new camera to come tomorrow. A5100. So exciting. I'm just glad that I feel very satisfied that I know the basics. Because when I first got my first camera, when I first got the T6i, I spent a long time being just like utterly confused and reading blogs and being like, there's a lot of terminology. There's a lot of like camera lingo and concepts that you don't really run across anywhere else. And trying to figure out things like what kind of a lens that I wanted, and focal length versus aperture versus, you know, the role of the shutter speed or the ISO, like all of that was befuddling to me. And I was very overwhelmed trying to learn everything. And then like trying to figure out where it all was in the menus and how it related to each other and how the different modes worked and what was the best setup for me. And after struggling through it with that camera, and then struggling through a bunch of things with this camera, because you might remember when I first got this camera and started recording vlogs with it, I had all kinds of wonky color grading issues. I had color profile issues. There was a lot of things I just didn't understand yet that I had to kind of trial and error work through. And it was a really satisfying experience for me to get this new camera, the one that you haven't seen yet, but the A7 III, and look at the menus and realize I know what these things do. I know how to, like, and I was able to set it up in a few minutes and get a look that I'm happy with because I've worked through all this before. And the menu setup is very similar, if not identical, to this one, because this is also a Sony camera. And that was just the best feeling of knowing that I don't have to start from scratch again. Like, something that I did gave me a benefit that I can have now. Something I learned is something that I can use now. I progressed. I leveled up. It's a very satisfying feeling of knowing that I haven't just wasted 100% of my time. Okay, 1 dot for each of you. Keep you nice and even. Maybe a second dot for each of you. Maybe a little AoE for each of you. And then I just want to make sure that as soon as you split, I target whoever's split and get them back. Get them back ASAP. So they're both splitting. Okay. Just want them all back. And then we can dot you all up again. It's nice and easy to do it evenly on this character. And then off we go again. Watch me talk a big game about killing them so evenly and then have it be like a big problem. Oh. For some reason I thought he had split, but he's good. Okay. We're set. No problem. Japanese pancakes, not waffles. Got a great fish tank. Looks wonderful. Aw, shucks. I've also learned a lot about aquariums over the last year. I feel like every tank has some lessons to teach you. And there's probably some that I still haven't learned yet, but we're doing better than we were when we started. Although I feel like a lot of it, I feel like aquariums get massively easier once they've just kind of found their rhythm. I am maintaining it in much the same way that I did when I first got it. Like when I first set up this aquarium, I did a full fishless cycle, tested the water to make sure that my biological filter was well established. I did so without any fish. I was adding ammonia directly. I tracked it all in a spreadsheet. I did everything theoretically right. I had logs of the pH values. I was aware of the temperature. I was aware of the water hardness. I was aware of like my stocking levels, and I stocked very gradually. And I never really crashed my cycle. I never really ended up with an uncycled tank. But despite that, that tank still had issues for quite a while. Like the first set of fish that I added to it all died. I now believe that they were sick when I got them, but they still all died. I had 1 or 2 fish drop off from different schools that I've added. And maybe that's just a reality when you buy fish. Maybe fish just have a relatively high death rate compared to other pets that you get. But I find that now, at least everybody's settled in, everything is stable. I don't have random algae flare-ups. I don't have weird things that I just don't understand. And everybody's just kind of good. We know how much to feed. We know how often to feed. We know how often to clean. We know how much water to change. And everything's like settled. And that's very nice because then it becomes much lower maintenance at this point. Hazel, what mount are you farming for in Siege of Orgrimmar? The Corkron Juggernaut. It's the big Scorpid. The Scorpid dig with like the drill hand. Just in case you didn't know what drills look like, this won't help you, but... the Corkron Juggernaut, yep. Like how your plants are set up, I have a betta fish. Very nice. I have a betta fish too. My betta fish is back there. There's Chen back there. Chen Stormstone. Also a cat. Hi, cat. Meow. I didn't see you there. She blinked at me. She's so cute. Oh, yeah. Probably means you really love your fish. I do. They're just so cool. They're just so cool. I also feel a lot of... Because sometimes things do happen. I have had fish that have died. And I don't always know why. And that's the worst thing. I hope that if when you die, like if when I die one day, hopefully at a ripe old age, you ever imagine like what it would be like if you died and then after your death you see a stat screen with all sorts of like hidden statistics about your life? You know, like mundane things like the amount of, I don't know, the amount of noodles that you ate across your entire life, to how many bugs you stepped on, to like how many people liked you that never told you, like stuff like that. I want, if I was going to choose statistics for there, I want to know exact precise cause of death for every one of my fish, as well as a flow chart of the events leading to that, and where, if at all, I could have prevented it. I just want to know what I did wrong, if I did anything wrong, because some of them I still don't understand. I don't, like, with Chromie, with she was a thick-lip gourami, I'm pretty sure. I still don't know exactly what happened with her. I don't know if she ended up with a parasite. Like she had some symptoms and we treated for them and she got better and then she got worse. And I don't know how old she was. I do know she was about the same size when we got her. We had her for about a year, but you know, they're supposed to live a while. I have no idea. I just want to know if I could have done anything. But I suppose if I get that info after I die, theoretically it won't do me any good because I won't be able to save any new fish with it. So you just got to do your best. I dream about getting fired and having to go back to college like I'm sitting in a room full of 12-year-olds. Oh, that's a scary one. I think everyone has school nightmares. School PTSD. Mm-hmm. You'd think that, like, I would have a school nightmare, especially one about being behind, and I would want to wake up and be very organized and effective so that I don't get the same thing happening in my work. And I don't know if it exactly works that way. How's the Dark Iron Monk? Are you a healer yet? She is backburnering currently. She's taken a bit of a backseat to my new classic habit. My classic hobby is the nicest way to put it. I can't do both at once. I've been logging in to do her daily quest, her Enlightenment Monk daily, and that's been good. But when I'm ready to go back to her, she should be almost finished with 60 to 80. She's going to be like high 70s, so it'll be pretty quick to get her out of like the dreaded 60 to 80, and it should be fairly quick to finish her because I'm going to have that monk buff to get me up to 90, and then it's pretty easy sailing from there. The only part that really slows me down is Legion slows me down a teeny tiny bit if I'm too impatient to wait for invasions. Gaudy Griffin, thank you very much for the sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. How you lemon babies doing? My lemon babies are doing great. They're doing just fine. I don't know where that voice came from. They're good. I'm keeping an eye on the weather, trying to decide when it's time to bring my plants in, because in addition to my lemon babies, I have many succulents outside. My jade plants are all out there. My elephant bush is out there. I have some hen and chicks plants in a big bowl, and at some point, usually I bring them in for the winter. They go outside around June as soon as the temperature stays above 50 at night. And sort of late September, once it starts getting below 50 at night, I bring them in and like set them up on all the windowsills. I don't know where I'm going to put that big bowl. It's a big bowl. And I'm trying to figure out when exactly is going to be the right time for me to do that. Because then you want to start like weaning off the water, putting them into a semi-dormant state for winter. My adeniums are going to drop all their leaves again. It's going to stress me out. It would be great one day to have a space to set up the plants where I could set up lights for them and maintain their light through the winter, especially for something like the adenium that does not require a dormancy period. Would be good, but also a little unnecessary. A little unnecessary to spend the power on that. Drop chance on the Corcoran Juggernaut, according to rarity, about 1%. Like the good place? Exactly, yeah. Recommend any particular classes? Monk. Monk are very good because they're very fast. They can AoE on demand. I like Monk a lot for that kind of thing. Druids are good too. Druids can sprint. Druids have a nice fast indoor run speed. One of my pet mice died. Have absolutely no idea how that happened. Especially with, I feel like especially with tiny animals, like fish and like, you know, rodents and whatnot, things that naturally have shorter lifespans. It's still important to do your best and to give them everything that you can, and you don't want to be a neglectful pet owner. But I also think there's value in not beating yourself up too much if you can't figure it out, because sometimes tiny animals, I think they die. I think sometimes they just don't have it in them. Like, you know, obviously there's something that you could probably pin down if you had like a microscope and a vet degree, but that doesn't mean that you could have prevented it. Some of them are just born oddly, like they're in the wild, they're born in such numbers so that some of them make it and a lot of them don't, and maybe it was just not one of the ones that was going to make it. Happy belated birthday. Thanks, Marmo. Warriors, if you want weapon mogs. Most raid mounts and dungeon mounts, approximately 1%. There's a few outliers. Monks don't have old sets to farm. Yeah, but they're so fast. They're so fast. Internet went out in Siege. My mouse died and my cat's getting really fat. Oh dear. Oh dear. That kind of reminds me of my shrimp situation. I miss aspect of cheetah as a permanent buff until you turn it off. I misread your comment for a quick second as aspect of the cheetah being a permanent butt. It's nice having a butt all the time. Whenever you want to sit, there's your butt. You know, cheetah's great. It's, I just got it on my hunter because he had it at 20, and it is exactly the stopgap that I needed in my life to get me between 20 and 40, especially running around Ashenvale and Darkshore. It's a run-heavy land. There's a lot of running around going on. And 30% is pretty huge. Are you leveling your Monk Mistweaver or Windwalker? Going back and forth, even doing a teeny tiny bit of Brewmaster. I'm doing Mistweaver in dungeons, and for a long time I was also doing Mistweaver out questing, but I kind of gave up on that because it fell off after a while. It was great. Mistweaver was great damage until like 60, and then Windwalker started to become significantly faster. So I just switched. I'll still Mistweaver for dungeons. Is it a cheetah butt? Perhaps. I would imagine a cheetah would have a muscular butt. I guess maybe they like. I'm imagining that because they would run a lot, you know, because they're cheetahs. But maybe it's more about the leg muscles with them, because are butts a feature of being upright? Do we only have butts because we stand up? It's too early in the week for this. That's more of a Friday thought. Now that the weather is turning cold, I'm finding all sorts of prehistoric looking bugs in the house. Oh man. I am a bug escorter. Not really because I'm like pro bug rights. I'm not gonna throw a fit if someone kills a bug. Especially if they're mosquitoes, will absolutely kill them myself. But when they're big and you know that if you kill that thing it's getting gory, I will absolutely trap them in a cup to escort them outside. And that's probably a death sentence too. They probably came inside because this is the time of year when it gets too cold for them, and that's the end. So they're just trying to escape their end. But you can't stay in my house. You'll look freaky. Dogs have butts too. Kind of, but not quite in the same way. Wonderful how you do a run on multiple characters. I think one run is already too much. For Siege, yeah, I'm with you. For the shorter raids, like when we were doing, you know, Invincible or Mim's Head with the lockout skips, or even just Throne of the Four Winds, where it's just a very quick raid, I'm super down to run those over and over again on like 10 plus characters, and that's how you get those mounts. That's how you get them faster, is you do them as many times as you can. An interesting conversation is realizing that centaurs have 2 sets of ribs and trying to figure out their internal anatomy. I bet you somebody's done some real good drawings. I bet you somebody's figured it out. But yeah, that is true. My greyhound has a huge muscular butt. Probably good. Look at one when it stands up on its back legs. I guess so. Excuse me. Aside from like a corgi with like a very fluffy butt, I don't spend that much time looking at dog butts. I feel like their legs just kind of go into their backs. Can you only farm gear from raids weekly? Yeah, pretty much. Some raids you are allowed to run on multiple lockouts, or multiple difficulties rather, per week. But by and large, you get one go per week per character, which is why I like to use many characters for the sake of farming mount runs. Okay, that guy, leave my buddies alone. Oh, that's a war banner. I was trying really hard to kill it and wondering why it wouldn't die. What are your thoughts on 8.0 and 9.0 leaks? Haven't read them. Haven't read them. I may at some point do so for a video because people keep asking me. I am generally quite skeptical towards leaks, though. I am so skeptical, I'm almost rude. It's like, it's all nonsense. You know, maybe they'll be right. But even if they are right, I don't believe it until I have a good reason to believe it. And when I have a good reason to believe it, it's because it's been confirmed. Like, it's up until then, I guess it's fun to speculate, but I don't know. It just feels like a waste of time. I'll worry, like, there's so much in WoW that there's so much information and trivia and tips and things to know. It's such a big game with so many changes and things to know that if I try to fit things in my brain that are not even things yet, it's just going to confuse me when the actual information comes out and I'm trying to remember the answer to a question. I can't have potentially false copies of info in my brain. I generate enough of those all by myself. I don't know. Oh, I might look at them. It's just I'd rather get excited when it's like happening, you know? Maybe I just hate disappointment. Maybe I just don't want to read a leak and get like really excited for it and really want whatever they're leaking. And then be let down when it doesn't happen because I got my hopes up for something that was unconfirmed. Or the flip side of that, they leak something that I really want and then they announce it and then the actual announcement is no longer special to me because I'm like, well, okay, that's old news. Like it takes away some of the drama and the magic of the announcement moments. And those are like really important to me. So maybe that's why. I don't know. up we go. Korger just followed me all the way up this tower. Where is my boy at? There he is. This isn't the worst gun to aim in the game, but it's up there. It jumps around an awful lot. There we go. I was about to jump off the tower and try to levitate myself down. I do not have levitate. I am a cat. You do take reduced falling damage in cat form. So I think you can make it, but I don't trust myself to. You know what really bothers me about Druid? I feel like one of the main reasons why I can never really get into it outside of being a Resto Druid. Druid forms are very cool. But I'm always moving into travel form to travel places because it's great. And then and then I have to remember to get back into Moonkin form. And it just feels very clunky to me. Maybe I'm just moving around too much. But just going in and out and in and out and in and out. And then what ends up happening is I end up just being out of travel form, just DPSing not in Moonkin form. And then I go, oh no, I'm doing it wrong. Horrible biting black flies they have in Minnesota. Worse than mosquitoes. Ooh. Amount are you farming for? I'm looking for the Korokron Juggernaut. My boss has a mug that says, Corgi butts drive me nuts. Alright. She'll lie on her back, show off the goods, can't miss it. Snapdragon Kelpstalker, congrats. It's a fake, but close to what Blizzard are likely to do anyways. I also want to make predictions based off of just the universe vibes and the things. I guess you can make predictions based off leaks that feel credible versus not feeling credible. I have more faith in a leak from somebody that, like, I don't know. There was that, like, Kotaku article that was, like, claiming to interview ex-Blizzard employees that had supposed information about different projects they were working on and not working on. And that, despite the fact that that could also be BS, that could also be absolutely false, I have more faith in something like that where somebody at least put in the effort to make it look like journalism than something that's just like a bunch of bullet points on a 4chan post. Happens to me so much as Bimkin. Flap. When you leveled this druid, what spec did you use? I don't remember. I've had this druid for a long time. This character was leveled in... I mean, she's race changed. I think she might have server changed too. I might have leveled this one in like Wrath or Kata. I don't remember what I leveled as. If I was going to level again, I would probably level... I used to level as Boomkid all the time because if the goal is to play Resto, it's nice to be like focusing on int stuff. But I like leveling as Feral because it's just fun to do the cat damage. And it seems faster. And even though it's the same principle of you have to get into cat form to do cat damage, it feels less awkward, I guess, because you can't do cat form. You can't just be a human druid and then just bite somebody with your human druid teeth. They don't let you do it. So getting into cat form feels like it makes more sense to me, I guess. I can't really explain it. My Najadar buddy has reached level 20. 20 x 300 means 6,000, but my achievement says 5,900 of 6,000. That is very peculiar. Moonkin macro to a main spell works great. Is it not trigger? It triggers a GCD though, doesn't it? It looks like it triggers a GCD. You'd have to press it twice, I think. Maybe not. Leaks are people speculating, passes around, someone adds from a Blizzard employee, people start believing it. Yeah. And maybe. I mean, this time around, there was a large exodus, and by exodus, I mean layoffs, of Blizzard employees this past year, so it's credible that some of them may have decided to share what they know anonymously. It's not... I guess it's more likely this year than most years, but I don't know. I don't know about all that. I do think we're getting... Well, I think there's going to be something drastic changing with factions. I don't know if they're exactly going to dissolve them, but I think something's going to happen. I am down to believe in some Alliance Undead. I feel like that groundwork has been laid thoroughly through other forms of Warcraft media and with the Kalia storyline. I'm down for some Alliance Undead. I think that dissolving or adjusting the factions in some way is a natural progression to the storyline we're seeing now. I think things that sort of, like, Blizzard no longer really just pulls expansions out of their butts. they these days very much like to set things up well ahead of time, ever since kind of like Warlords-ish. You know, before that, but especially since Warlords, they've leaned in very far into setting up stories early and having them progress and evolve and be continuous expansion to expansion. So anything that we're getting next expansion is going to be largely already set up and established. So that gives us Old Gods, and it gives us the Sylvanas conflict. And I believe the Sylvanas thing is going to be mostly 8-3 to set us up for Old Gods, but if there's going to be any faction change, then after resolving the Sylvanas thing is going to be a good time for it. Moonkin on your taskbar whenever you have the button for Wrath. I can't wait for BlizzCon. Put the leaks to rest, hopefully. It's gonna, I mean, yeah, I guess so. What if they announce the next expansion, but all they announce is the name and like a silhouette, and they just don't give us anything else? They're like, there's gonna be an expansion. Here's the name. Guess everything else. We're telling you nothing. Just like no features announcements. That would be pretty funny. Okay. Rep items count. You only need 5,900 to get to level 20 from level 1. Huh. They'll do a peace treaty. We'll gain the ability to group cross faction. I think that's credible. I don't think it's guaranteed. I don't think anything's guaranteed. I hate it when people call things confirmed before they have been literally spoken from the mouth of Blizzard. If it's not like in a blog post or spoken in an interview that is still available and has not been corrected, I don't believe it. But if we're talking how likely something speculated is, I think there's a good shot at that, especially because that helps make more groups available to people if the population of live is going to shrink. However, things like quality of life achievements or quality of life improvements, especially evolving factions, you know, especially now that we're in a world with Classic, where you get to really look at the flip side of everything that you lost when you put in quality of life changes, may make them think twice about making further quality of life changes for live. Like, if you remove factions or faction restrictions, sure, you gain the ability to group with far more players. What do you lose? There's always something that you lose. It might not be immediately obvious, but there's always something that you lose. And I feel like they may be more cautious about that moving forward. Maybe not. Maybe they're going to save all of that caution for the Classic project and just have live be like, whatever, throw it all in there, let's see what happens. But there is an upside and a downside to every change, and it would be smart for us all to be more cognizant of both of those when looking at any change. There's always an upside and there's always a downside. When do you think the last raid will come out? Oh, I can guess, but I'm usually wrong. Okay, so let's see. 8-3. So 825 gonna be, you know, October, November. New raid. Late January, February, because they're going to run into the same issue that they had with the last raid that came out after Christmas. I don't think it's going to be ready before Christmas, because BlizzCon's going to happen, and you're going to have like 7 weeks left post BlizzCon to put together a patch. They can put out the patch without the raid release, and if it comes out too close to releasing around Christmas, especially with raid testing, they're just going to push it back to after Christmas, and it takes things a while to get rolling after Christmas. So I'm thinking January, February. And there's going to be enough stuff going on between 825, if they do launch 8.3 without the raid around Christmas time, for example, then there will be some stuff to do in that. And then people are going to be kind of busy with the Classic. They might not be running out of stuff to do on live. I don't know. Everything going mobile is going to trigger everything. Oh, yeah. There's going to be mobile announcements. And people are not going to be having it. But, you know, they're going to have... I think they're going to have something to announce for Diablo 4. I think they're going to have an actual Diablo 4 announcement. And if they're smart, they'll do the mobile announcements in a different stage. Don't even bring those on the main stage. Do them in a separate event that sets the expectation that this is going to be about mobile stuff, so people that are excited about that can get excited for it and go to see what's going to happen. You got to know your audience, and you got to create a space to make the audience that's going to be interested in what you're putting out, because it probably is very smart for them to make mobile games. They're very profitable. Some people are into them. You just got to find those people and don't mix it in with the people looking for Diablo 4. But I feel like it'll go over better the reason that Immortal went over so poorly, largely, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that all kind of came together, but people didn't want that. People wanted actual Diablo. And if you give them actual Diablo and then you also give them something else, you know, I feel like they need to make they can't just give us a Warcraft pet battle app. They need to announce a very cool new expansion. And then, oh, hey, there's also an app. You know, like, don't lead with it. Don't lead with it. Don't think they'll remove factions. They just have to have more fluidity. I don't think that they would just like straight up say no more Alliance and Horde, everybody can be everything. The version that I want, that I've just imagined, but that I would think would be really cool, is they allow you to choose your faction and add more, but make that faction choice matter for less. Make it matter. You can have it give you bonuses. You can come up with stuff, but have it enhance you rather than limit you. So that as a Horde, you can play and raid in group with an Alliance or with a Cenarian Circle member, or with, you know, they could have other groups, especially if they don't matter as much. And it could be another way to kind of customize your character your own way, your own story, like make your own story. I don't know. They totally could make it so you need to feed your 100 pets again. You could resist the level in which one revisit. Yeah, you could, but I don't think they will. Because they have Classic now as the space for those changes to be to exist. And we have proved time and time again that if you take out a convenience from live, even if it's the teeny tiniest little thing, if you remove a convenience people used to have, people riot. People talk about you trying to pad your playtime. People talk about you trying to pad numbers for investors or something. People always find a way to blame the investors. And people will be like, you just hate fun. That's why you don't want me to have, like, when the portals changed and there was like one portal missing, that was like an apocalypse. Or like when the water mount equipment came in, it was supposed to give you more flexibility, but people thought for a second that maybe they wouldn't be able to water walk on their level 24 character. It was madness, and it wasn't until they made it very clear that they were not removing the slightest bit of quality of life that everybody kind of went back to their breakfast. You can't do it on live. You just can't. The audience won't take it. They're already looking for excuses to cancel it. The Diablo mobile game ever come out? No idea. Not a clue. Battle Pet app calling it now. That's a very popular theory. I think it has some credibility. I don't know if it's the most, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I'm not like, I don't know. I think it's the most credible theory. People have been asking for it for a very long time. It's the part of WoW that makes most sense to take it out and turn it into an app. But I don't know if that's what they're trying to do. I don't know if they're trying to carve off a piece of WoW and make it available in an app. I think they would be trying to make a mobile game that ties into the IP and maybe connects a little bit, but is mostly its own entity. I think that we are more likely to see a Pokemon Go style AR game with Warcraft IP, or Blizzard IP in general, over a pet battle app. I think they're both good chances. I think the Pokemon Go one's more likely. If we're just speculating. I obviously don't know anything. Classic could influence future decisions for live. And that's kind of, yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's sort of what I'm trying to say, in which I don't think they're going to take away conveniences we already have because people will not have that. But they're going to be hesitant to add in new quality of life conveniences in fear of making it worse. Or, you know, causing more of the loss of the, you know, whatever you lose. Okay, so I am going to give it 10 to 15 seconds before I jump up, and I am also going to kill each and every last individual spark. I think it's more the waiting than the sparks, because I swear that I have in the past left sparks up and not died. I don't think that that's what it is, but it could be, so I'm going to try just in case. The only thing I think Blizzard did that stated we hate fun is the nerf on the Corgi toy. Yeah. Tencent finished the Diablo game, but it's never been released. It's all gone very quiet. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, I wonder if they're trying to come up with a spin for it, like a PR thing or a marketing plan that takes into account the press it's gotten, because that kind of app is going to get immediately review bombed, no matter how good it is. I don't know what makes a mobile game good. I do not personally want to play mobile games. I do not want to spend more time on my phone. I'm not really interested. But it could be an objectively great game. I don't know if it will be, but it could be. And it will still get 1 star in the App Store because people will massively review bomb it because of what it is and because of when it was announced. So they may be trying to come up with some kind of spin that can either lean into that in a way that turns it to their power, or just try to hide and sneak it out, and then hope, like, you need the way people hear about it again to not be like oh great, they're releasing that thing everybody hates. You need to hear about it word of mouth from people that actually like it, which is tough to do. Okay, so we're ready to pull the handle. There are no more active sparks. Sparks are all gone. Pulling the handle, giving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okie dokie. And sometimes I don't do any of this and it still works. It's just so inconsistent. We're getting closer to a 2-hour double mount run. We're not quite there yet. My wipes on the first one really put us behind, but we are closer. I have 10 minutes left. I guess I still have a good amount of the rest of this to do. I still have to do Siegecrafter and Thok. Big crates. So while I work on this, has anybody actually made Japanese souffle style pancakes before? And if so, do you got any hot tips for a first timer? Anything I should keep in mind? I was Googling tips. I've already read some. I'm going to be using like a mold. I need to take a closer look at my mold because I don't really know how I'm going to flip it. My mold might have a handle at the top. I don't know if and also I don't have any tongs. I was told I should use tongs to grip the mold as I flip it, like a tong with a spatula underneath. And I don't have tongs. I just don't have anything that I would use tongs for, so I don't think I own any. That may be an oversight. I may come to a precarious flipping situation. Okay. Make sure I get the Sparky boys. Both sparks are down. 1. And we're heading over here. One day I'm going to be good at this. Day's not today. But one day I will have done this enough times. Unless the mount drops for me this time. If this is the run that the mount drops, I am super down to never in my life get better at running silk boils. We're like 15 or so runs in. I think this is attempt number 15. And I think by attempt like 40, I'm going to be better at this. I'm going to like have a smooth rundown by attempt 40 where I'm not just randomly wiping to Paragons or Spoils or Gallicrass. I think. Maybe not. But I feel like that's about the amount of times it'll take for me to commit everything important to muscle memory so that it's okay if I get a little distracted because I like innately remember how to do it. Okay, this should do. There we go. The ad for the game should be, do you have your phones now? That might work. Like, it might backfire horribly, but it might work. And I feel like it's better, or at least more fun, to go in for something kind of ballsy like that than to just, like, try to sneak it out and hope that only the right people notice. Because you gotta find your audience. I don't know. I really want them to add Hearthstone in-game. Always felt like visiting an inn, seeing the game board, I should be able to queue into a match. It would be a fun, like, mini-game. But I feel like it would be a fun mini-game, especially, like, a versus AI if you're, like, waiting for something. But it has its own place, and plus you can play it. If you have another monitor, you can play both. The only thing I wish they'd add since the beginning of time is an auto gray seller. Stuff like that that's captured by add-ons, I don't really mind not being available, because somebody might, like, on live, I don't use on classic, I don't use an auto gray seller because I really want to get the joy of each and every item I'm vendoring and identify how much I'm getting for it and be like, yes, my 51 copper, my 1 silver 4, and I'm down for that. But on live, it's, like, not realistic. So then I have an add-on for that, but because it's an add-on, you sort of have the choice. The one place where I do think they direly need to, and I think they have agreed publicly, direly need to improve the interface, you gotta fix the auction house, man. It's rough. You gotta fix the auction house. That better be a selling feature. Imagine if they put in the auction house into 9.0 and it has, like, a much better interface for buying and selling, but also stuff like you could do weird stuff. You could have buy orders. Imagine if we got that. You just, like, you can post things for sale, but you could also post something and be like, I want this thing, I want to pay this much. And if somebody wants to just sell it insta, they just want to, like, sell it immediately, they have the option of accepting the buy order, putting in the thing. You could even see what buy orders are for to get a gauge for what is in demand. It would be great. Pet Battle App process a raid tier. They didn't like the game. Don't want to announce the cancellation to avoid a chorus of I told you so. Possible, yeah. It's possible that it's going to be canceled for other reasons. I don't think that avoiding I told you so is a valid reason for a company to not do something. You know, theoretically, they don't have feelings. The people that work on it have feelings. But, you know, it is bad press. Leaving stuff alive when you exit the chain will kill you. Hundo P. How many alts that you have? How many alts do you have that are able to farm raids? More than 10 and less than 15, I think. Sort of like 12-ish, I want to say. I think is the right number. You should buy tongs. I should have thought of this ahead of time. Because it's too late. I must make these today. I must make them today. I cannot wait. It is a special day and I must make them. But yeah, I should probably buy tongs. I just don't need them for anything else. I'm always hesitant to get a new tool for just one very specific thing, especially if I only ever use them for making Japanese souffle style pancakes. I don't think I'm going to do that very often. I mean, I would be nice to do it more than just the one time, especially because I bought, like, the molds for them. Although I think I can use those molds for other things. They're like little 3-inch metal round molds, basically. And I think what they're sold for, like, you can use them for the pancakes, but what they were sold for, oh no, I have to do black fuse, was for, like, plating food. Like, you could stack up a dessert and then you pull off the thing and you have, like, a weird restaurant style cylinder of food or something. Like, you could have a layer of rice and then, like, veggies. I don't know. I kind of want to experiment with them. I might enjoy making dinner more if I get fancy with plating it. Sometimes I get into ruts with dinner where I just, like, don't even want to bother anymore, but I have to because I have to eat. What unit frame add-on are you using? I'm falling out of love with Z-Pearl. I use shadowed unit frames. Partner went to an amazing culinary school, so I only know how to eat all sorts of foods. Yeah, yeah. I think it's still worth, like, even if he or she went to, like, an amazing culinary school, you can still have, like, your signature dish. You still have, like, something that you can make that you're like, yo, that's my thing. I know you go to that fancy school, but have you tried my grilled cheese? Buy some tongs, other things down the road. Maybe not now, but you will. Yeah, but if I've gotten through this many years of my life without using them, do I really need them? This is the first time. This is the first time that I've ever needed them. Typically, tongs are for turning things, and I don't bother, and it's fine. I don't cook meat. And when I cook fish, don't turn it. It's just more done on one side, and it's fine. It's never bothered me. That's a lot of extra work, and then you open the oven, and you're letting out all that heat? I don't know, man. I'm good. I'm set. Blasphemy? Do you feel like this fight was easier back in MoP when people were on both sides? Oh, absolutely. This is one of the ones that's just by nature more annoying to solo, but it's still fine. This might be a run that drops tusks, super rare for plate wares. May I guess that you are not really into transmog farming? I am only into transmog farming for armor types that I wear, and I don't really actively play plate wares. I have some alts for it, but I'm a clothy at heart. My Shadow Priest is my main, and I don't really have the mental fortitude to try to collect transmog for many different armor types. I will do cloth, and that's it. So if it's a plate appearance, I don't care. It's fine, but I don't need it. I'm sure they're cool. Bake Off 5 minutes. Buy orders in WoW would be so nice. Guild Wars 2. They had them, I want to say Black Desert Online too. Black Desert Online has all sorts of stuff. Although I wouldn't say that their auction system is better. And I haven't used it for a while, and I know they've changed it since I last used it, so I can't talk about it too much, but like, the other stuff going on. Tongs are used for yummy, yummy bacon? Something I do not create. You don't have tongs? What are you doing with your life? I didn't realize this would be so controversial. I mean, I do know that most people have tongs. This is like, in the past when I've lived with roommates or with my parents, they did have tongs. I don't use them. I don't use them. Japanese pancake baking stream. I use tongs to make homemade French fries. You can use them for so many things. This is apparently an important point. I mean, I have a place for them. It's fine. Like, it's not like one of those things that I'll store that I don't have any place to put it. I can put them in that vase that's to the right of my stove that holds, like, my wooden spoons and whatever. I can get some tongs. Here, I'll buy some right now. Happy? Amazon. The curses of Prime. I absolutely shop at Amazon Prime too much. Tongs. Oh, goodness. Alright. Hot target. No. Grill tongs. Yeah, I'm not grilling anything. Oxo good grips. That's usually a safe bet. I don't know. 12-inch stainless steel locking. I don't need 12-inch tongs. 9-inch. That sounds more reasonable. Stainless steel. Why are the 9-inch ones more expensive? It's 65 cents more for the 9-inch ones over the 12-inch ones. Those are big tongs, though. Plating is the most ridiculous concept ever. I mean, there's a lot of ridiculous things in the world, you know? As human beings, once we really established that we knew how to get ourselves shelter and food, largely, some people still need help, but like, you know, largely speaking, in the first world, now that we have fed ourselves and we have roofs, we have gotten up to some weird stuff. Plating food's not the weirdest thing. I heard the people who played the Diablo demo at BlizzCon thought it was fun. I did hear that. I guess I should have run by it. From what I heard, it was also empty. I heard that there was no lines. I just, like, I want to spend... I don't want to use my phone to entertain myself. I want to use my phone as a tool, preferably for the minimal amount of time I can get away with doing it. I've been using it a little bit more because I set myself up with the digital note-taking tool because I'm trying that for self-organization. I'm sort of trying to establish a method for at least having everything that is floating around in my head written down somewhere and vaguely categorized so that I can go through things and not worry about keeping it all in my head. And I'm using Bear Notes for that, is what I like so far. So that's on my phone. So if I have a thought that I just want to remember, I can grab my phone and put it in the notes. But it's not a game. I don't want to pick up my phone just because I'm bored. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not judging anybody for doing that. I know that's very much the normal thing to do. And I have in the past, and will probably again, picked up my phone, not because I was bored, but because everybody else was, and I didn't want to be that weird person just staring around not doing anything while waiting for something. As just kind of like an anxiety thing, or like a self-consciousness thing. But I don't want it to be like, I don't know. I just don't have any self-control. I think other people have more of a mental checkpoint or filter or something than I do. I can very easily get started with an activity like browsing anything and lose track of time extremely quickly. and I don't have anything in my brain that brings me back. I can spend 6-8 hours Googling pet symptoms to try to fix my fish, and that's not what I should be doing that day. But I don't trust myself with a lot of online services, and like mobile games are one of those things. They're just too handy and convenient and around. Oh, have I done this wrong? Am I okay? I think we're good. Cool. He's down. Paying attention. Paying attention. I am paying attention. Sup, Castic, my boy. You won't get me today. Although I accidentally AoE'd down your friend. Although Kilrick's down, and I think it's just the two of them left, so I think we're okay. Okay, cool. Is this one good for cloth farming? You do get some wind wool. There is probably some activity out there that gets you more wind wool than this does. I don't know what. But it doesn't sell. People, like, it's 24 silver each on my server. Supposedly market price and region market price is above a gold each, so it would be great if it sold, because I do end up with a lot of it. I can never sell it. I end up vendoring it. Tonggate. I don't have tongs. Don't tong shame people. Great for grilling veggies. I don't have a grill. And you know what? I don't think I want a grill. I said it. I'm gonna cook inside. There's bees out there. There's wasps. There's hornets. It's madness. I know they're good. It's delightful. It's just like, it's another thing that you gotta clean and you gotta maintain and you gotta like get fuel for it, and like, I'm good. I'll go to somebody else's house and they'll have a grill. And I'll help them grill. And you know what? They're gonna have tongs. Get metal ones. Are the 9-inch ones wider? Does not appear so. It appears that they're just longer. It appears that it's all in the length and they're the same width. But I feel like I might spend the extra 65 cents to get the shorter ones. So that I don't have to deal with an entire foot of tongs. Growing more and more American with each tong you order. I don't know if tongs are American. My family in Canada has tongs. Hate killing the giant bug. I spent a month feeding it to grow. Holy floop, it's a Hazel. How are you today? Sup, Wired Current? I am doing pretty good. Do you have ADHD? I have not been diagnosed with anything, so until somebody tells me otherwise, I don't. Doctors are scary. Windwool can make the mop bags that are 30 slots. Doesn't look like outside makes her list of places to cook. Cooking veggies in a pan. If I'm gonna flip veggies in a pan, I'm either stirring them around because they're chopped small, or I'll use like a flipper, like a spatula flipper. Converted to an electric grill. No fuel, no cleaning. That's not too bad then. After playing too much classic, 30 slot bag made me look twice. We have tongs in the UK. Yeah, they're not American. Like, grilling is a stereotypical American activity, but it's not exclusive to America. I don't even think it started there. This is Dr. Dances. You have ADHD. Sorry. Oh, man. I don't know if I'm ready to start getting diagnosed by my Twitch chat. I don't know if I'm there yet. Grilling this weekend for my boyfriend's birthday. Dad and stepmom will finally get to meet his parents. After us being together for 3 years buying a house. That's big. Do you predict that everybody's going to get along? Does it feel like they're going to click? Feel the pain? ADHD invented by drug companies? The way I see it, even if I am not neurotypical, and I may be, even if I'm not, I don't think it's going to change the way that I look at myself. And I don't think it's going to really, I feel like I'm already making all of the efforts that I'm going to make to find all of the tools and techniques and coping strategies to deal with whatever brain I have. I don't think that putting a label on it is going to be effective for me. And unless I feel like I cannot manage it with behavioral coping strategies, I don't want to add, I'm not ready for, I don't want mental health drugs. I'm not there yet. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. They're very helpful for many people. I just, as long as I feel like I'm coping, I don't want to mess with my neurotransmitters yet. I've been there before. I have done it before, and I'm not ready to do it again. Got that new Twitch channel point beta thing too? Ah, yeah. Nothing was started in America? Who are we kidding? That's not true. I'm sure some things. Americans have many rich traditions. They must have come up with some of them. Neurotypical? Yeah, maybe I'm confused with that. I might have been looking for the word atypical. Yeah, that's right. Putting a label on it makes it easier to find things that work. Maybe, but putting a label on it, I feel like may also just give me excuses. I don't want, and again, I'm only ever speaking for myself here. Absolutely only speaking for myself. I just feel like if I got a diagnosis, then I'm going to be in a situation where I'm having to explain to a doctor why I don't want to medicate. And after that, I feel like then I have an excuse in my brain for like, oh, the reason I'm not focusing is because of this thing, so I don't need to try anymore. And I don't want to give myself that excuse because I would probably take it. My logic might not check out. This is just where I'm at. I'm not saying that I'm thinking the right things. These are just the things that I'm thinking. If that makes any sense. I worry about my stepmom. She's the most anxious person I've personally ever known. We invented turducken. Did you really? Don't let people tell you what you should be like if you're happy. And I think I could be happier. I think I can do better. I'm on a process and it's going fine, but I'm just working through different types of strategies and methods to figure out how to be the best version of myself. And that's going to be naturally tailored to myself, whether or not I'm different from anybody else. I've never been anybody else. So I don't have any reference points for what might be wrong with me. So for all intents and purposes, there's nothing wrong with me. Even if I was completely, absolutely like everybody else, I would probably still want to have some strategies for getting organized and for managing my time and for managing my mental state. So I don't think it's any different than what I would do regardless. I don't think it's going to affect the amount of effort that I'm going to put into trying to find ways of thinking about myself and my life and my time that work for me. Is that what I mean? Talking on stream is dangerous because you can kind of think through things out loud, and now there's a record of it. Even if I change my mind or even if it's not what I meant, because I'm not quite sure what I mean right now. I'm not 100% sure what I'm trying to say, if in fact I'm trying to say anything. Okay, I did not get the mount. That was attempt number 16. I did get this sweet faceplate though. So that's cool. That looks a little Blackrock Foundry-ish. Have you seen the Garrosh Sailor Moon transformation video? No, absolutely not. Trying to conform can be quite the waste of your life. I think I've finally given up on that, and it's great. The older I get, I think the weirder I get, especially because I'm a little too isolated from outside influences. So I can be as weird as I want here, and there's like nothing to really bring me back to earth. I feel like I'm getting a little woozly, a little wonky over here. It's fine though. We're good. All right. I'm done. Boom. Thank you very much for coming. I will be back tomorrow, but tomorrow afternoon. And you know what else? I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to try to have a video out on my YouTube channel before then. I'm trying to put together just like a real quick guide talking about installing add-ons for Classic, because I know some people were still curious about how that worked. So I was going to do that. I am going to do that. And I'm going to have it done before I go live tomorrow. I said it, so now it has to happen. This is a thing I'm trying. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for watching in the future. I'm also going to put out the baking stream VoD. I can do that like next, so that should be pretty soon. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.